In the quiet town of Willow Creek, a woman is found murdered in an orchard, and the only clue points straight at the police force. I'm Officer Mara Hale, and tonight, the people I trusted may be the ones hunting me. I always believed Willow Creek was the kind of town where time moved slower, not stuck, just unhurried, like the people had made some unspoken pact to keep life simple. A single grocery store, a diner that still played country music from the 70s, and roads that curved around miles of apple orchards. It was the kind of place where everyone knew who baked the best pies and who watered their lawn too late at night, and then a body showed up. I was halfway through my morning coffee when the call came in. Officer Mara Hale, you're needed at Claremont Orchard. It's bad. Bad was an understatement. When I arrived, fog hung low like the earth was exhaling secrets. Between the lines of trees, sprawled on damp soil, was a woman, mid-30s, blonde hair, blood dark against her pale throat. Victim is Laura Pierce. Deputy Nolan said when I crouched beside the body. His hands shook slightly as he flipped his notepad. Owner of the antique shop. I closed my eyes briefly. I knew Laura. Quiet but kind, gave discounts to old folks, always had cinnamon candies at her counter. She didn't deserve this. I whispered. What struck me first was not the wound, though the gash across her neck was deep, deliberate, but her right hand. Her fingers were curled tightly around a torn piece of green fabric. Bag it. I told Nolan, forcing calm into my voice, and get forensics here. No one enters the orchard except the team. I walked the perimeter, letting instinct guide me. The earth showed signs of a struggle. Broken stems, a deep shoe print, maybe a man's, maybe not. But then something more chilling, a thin smear of blood on the bark of an adjacent tree, drawn in a shaky line as if someone had tried to leave a message but failed. My radio crackled. Officer Hale, you might want to come back to the body. I returned to find Nolan staring at a phone they'd retrieved from Laura's coat pocket. She got a text late last night. He said, from an unknown number. Message read, you shouldn't have told her. What did she know? I murmured. Nolan shrugged. Who's her? I didn't answer, because deep down, the first name that flashed in my mind made my stomach twist. My sister, Riley. Riley and Laura had been close once, inseparable even, until something splintered their bond a few months back, something neither of them would tell me. I'd asked, begged even, but Riley just said, let it go, Mara. It's nothing. Nothing rarely leaves people dead. I pocketed that thought for later. For now I had a scene to secure and a killer to find. But before I could continue, a voice called from behind. Mara. What happened? It was Abigail Winters, the quiet librarian. She stood frozen at the edge of the tape, her face drained of color, her thin sweater wrapped tightly around her as if the morning chill had teeth. How did you know to come here? I asked. I was out walking. She said, voice trembling, I saw the police cars, but something in her voice made me look closer. Fear, yes, but guilt too. A subtle, trembling kind of guilt that settled in her eyes like a storm waiting to break. Did you know Laura well? I asked. She hesitated. Not really. We talked sometimes. Her gaze flicked to the orchard and then away, as if afraid it might swallow her whole. I stepped closer. Abigail, if you know anything, I don't. She took a step back. I should go. Before I could stop her, she hurried down the path. Nolan walked up beside me. Suspicious. Very, I said, but she's not the only one. Because as the sun rose over Willow Creek, warming the dew-soaked grass, all I felt was a tightening in my chest, a sense that this murder was not random, not impulsive. Someone had planned it, and someone else was trying very hard to hide the truth. Chapter 2, a town full of shadows by noon. The orchard buzzed with police tape, markers, the soft hum of cameras. I'd barely had time to eat when a second blow struck. Riley's name flashing across my phone. I answered quickly. Riley. Where are you? Her voice quivered. Mara, I heard about Laura. Is it true? Yeah, I said gently. I'm so sorry. But I wasn't just sorry, I was terrified. For months, Riley had been slipping. Late nights, missed work shifts, jittery hands, eyes that looked both haunted and hollow. Something had been gnawing at her, something she wouldn't talk about. Riley, I began. Carefully, did you see Laura last night? Silence, then no. Too fast, too defensive. Riley, I said no. She snapped, then softened. I'm sorry. I just need time. She hung up before I could ask more. I leaned back in my patrol car, pinching the bridge of my nose. I loved my sister, but love couldn't blind me. Not when someone in this town was a killer. A knock on my window startled me. It was Sheriff Grant, bulky frame filling the sunlit space. You okay? He asked. Just tired. He nodded. We pulled camera footage from a farmhouse near the orchard. You'll want to see this. Inside the station's cramped tech room, the screen flickered with grainy footage from the property 2 miles off the orchard. At 11:43 p.m., a figure ran past, panicked, stumbling, clutching something. The quality was poor, but the outline was unmistakable. A woman, medium height, long hair, wearing a green jacket, the same shade as the torn fabric in Laura's hand. My stomach dropped. Pause. I said. The figure turned slightly, just enough for the streetlight to catch a glint of her face. It wasn't my sister. It was Abigail Winters. That's our librarian, Grant said, rubbing his jaw. Sweet girl. Keeps to herself. Sweet didn't mean harmless. I drove to Abigail's small, ivy-covered house on Birch Lane. The curtains were drawn, the porch light buzzing weakly. When she opened the door, her eyes widened, not in surprise, but resignation. I knew you'd come, she whispered. Abigail, I said softly. I need to ask where you were last night. Her chin trembled. Home. You're sure? Because we have video footage. Her knees nearly buckled. I wasn't at the orchard, I swear. I was running from someone. Who? She hugged herself. I can't say. You have to. But she shook her head. If I talk, someone else will die. I stepped closer. Abigail, Laura received a text saying she shouldn't have told her. Did she confide in you? Her eyes filled instantly. Please, Mara. If I tell you, they'll know. Who will? I can't. A crash sounded inside her house. We both froze. Is someone else here? I whispered. Abigail's face drained. No. I live alone. I drew my weapon. Stay behind me. I pushed the door open fully, stepping into the small living room. A lamp lay shattered. Papers scattered like a storm had swept through, and on the wall, in jagged strokes of black marker, stay quiet or you're next. I spun toward the hallway, but whoever had been there was gone, slipped through a back window, leaving behind only cold night air and a faint scent of cologne. Abigail collapsed onto the couch, shaking violently. I knelt beside her. Abigail, someone is targeting you. If you know something that cost Laura her life, I need to know now. She sobbed into her hands. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Then help me stop it. Her next words came out in a whisper so fragile it barely carried through the room. Laura found something at her shop. Something someone hid in an old desk drawer they donated. She told me she was scared. What did she find? Abigail shook her head. I didn't want to know, but she said if anything happened to her, I should tell you. My heart pounded. Tell me what? Abigail swallowed hard that she was being followed, and she thought the person worked in law enforcement. My blood ran cold. Someone on the force, I whispered. She nodded. Who? But before she could answer, tires screeched outside. Someone speeding away from the curb. Whoever had been inside the house had been watching us, tracking us, listening, and they knew Abigail was talking. I turned back to her. Pack a bag. You're coming with me, but no arguments, I said firmly. I won't let you die. But as I guided her out into the darkening evening, dread curled in my chest. Someone was hunting her, and I had a terrible feeling I already knew why. Chapter 3, Beneath the Quiet Lies Truth. I took Abigail to my house, a modest place near the creek with a front porch that creaked in the wind. I locked every window, checked every door twice, and made her tea. She sat at the table, pale and exhausted, fingers trembling around the warm mug. Abigail, I said gently, we're running out of time. If someone on the force killed Laura, I need a name. She looked at me then, truly looked, and something broke in her expression. It was Sheriff Grant. She whispered. The room seemed to tilt. No, I said immediately. Grant's been here for 30 years. He was at the shop. She blurted, "The night Laura died. She called me crying. She said he threatened her. Said she found documents, bank transfers, property deeds, proving he'd been embezzling from town funds for years. I stared at her, Grant, embezzling, killing, but then my memories shifted. Grant's sudden defensiveness about the case, his too quick dismissal of certain leads, the odd tightness in his jaw when we found the text on Laura's phone. How did you know? I whispered. Laura told me. Abigail said. She said Grant begged her not to reveal what she found, and when she refused, he followed her. I felt ice slide down my spine. He killed her. Abigail continued, sobbing now, and he saw me running from her shop after she called me. That's why he's after me too. My mind raced. If this was true, Grant could frame anyone, including me, and then another thought flash. Riley, if Grant knew Laura and Abigail talked, maybe he thought Riley knew too. I grabbed my phone, dialing my sister. It rang twice, then 3 times, then a voice answered, but it wasn't Riley. Well now, Sheriff Grant drawled, looks like I finally got your attention, Officer Hale. Every hair on my body stood on end. Grant, where's my sister? A low chuckle. Safe. For now, my heart slammed against my ribs. If you hurt her, calm down. His voice was cold, amused. I don't want Riley. I want the librarian. I looked at Abigail, who had gone ghost. White? Why? I breathed. She knows too much. He said simply, and so do you. The call cut, and headlights flash across my window. Not 1 vehicle. 3. He wasn't coming alone. I grabbed Abigail's hand. We're leaving. Now, we slipped out the back door, moving quickly through the tall grass toward the creek. The night air was sharp, biting at my lungs. Behind us, doors slammed and Grant's unmistakable voice barked orders. He's got backup. Abigail whispered. Who? Anyone he's blackmailing or paying. I said, this goes deep. We reached the small wooden bridge behind my house when a gunshot split the air. Abigail screamed, nearly collapsing. Move? I urged, pulling her across the bridge. We ducked behind the old fishing shed, my pulse hammering. I checked Abigail. She wasn't hit, just terrified. Listen, I said, gripping her shoulders. I'm going to distract him. You run to the old mill at the edge of town. Hide there. Don't come out until I find you. No, she sobbed. He'll kill you. I gave a tight smile. He'll try. Before she could protest, another gunshot tore through the night, this one splintering the wood above us. Go. I shouted. She ran. I emerged from behind the shed, gun raised. Grant stepped onto the bridge, shotgun in hand, moonlight slicing across his face. His deputies fanned out behind him. Mara, he said, as if disappointed, you should have stayed quiet. I aimed, put the weapon down. You won't shoot me, he smiled. This town loves me. You pull that trigger, you'll be the murderer. You framed my sister. I growled. You killed Laura. You terrorized Abigail. He shrugged. Collateral. You're done, Grant. His grin widened. Am I? Because behind me, I suddenly heard movement. Soft, hesitant. I didn't dare look back. Riley, Grant said casually, come here, sweetheart. My heart plummeted. She stepped into view, her hands zip-tied, eyes wide with panic. Mara, don't. Grant pressed the barrel toward her. Drop your gun. My mind raced. If I obeyed, we died. If I didn't, we died. And then a noise split the silence. A rustle behind Grant. Abigail, she had returned. Before I could stop her, she swung a heavy branch at Grant's head. It cracked loudly, staggering him. His gun fired wildly into the air. Riley, run. I screamed. Chaos erupted. Riley dove behind a tree. I lunged for Grant's shotgun. A deputy fired at me. I ducked behind the bridge railing. Grant roared, swinging the shotgun toward Abigail. I aimed, steady, focused, and pulled the trigger. The shot echoed across Willow Creek. Grant collapsed onto the bridge, the weapon slipping from his grasp. Silence flooded in, heavy and absolute. His deputies dropped their guns, surrendering without a word. Riley rushed into my arms, sobbing. Abigail fell to her knees, trembling violently, and I finally allowed myself to breathe. Hours later, when backup arrived from the county, when Grant's crimes unraveled like rotten thread, when Abigail gave her full statement, and the deputies confessed their part. Only then did the weight begin to lift from my chest. Abigail was safe, Riley was safe, and Laura, she finally had justice. As the first light of dawn touched the orchard where this nightmare began, I stood alone by the creek, letting the breeze wash over me. Willow Creek would heal, eventually, but I would never forget the truth I'd learned. Even the quietest towns have shadows, and sometimes the monsters we fear wear badges. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.